Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FurryArtSchool subreddit Discord art stream. I'm doing this stream is going to be all about live critiques and redlines, and it's going to be an event where a whole bunch of people will share their artwork, and I'm going to talk about it in real time, sharing your artwork. I'm repeating for those of you who have been here. But sharing artwork, either share it in the stream chat itself or direct message me. That's perfectly fine if you want to remain anonymous. The art will be shown, voices will be recorded. So yeah, you'll show up on my YouTube. You're all guest stars. I want to thank specifically Hoonts for coming in as well and assisting. If perhaps I have a hard time with something, maybe they can help out. But yeah, I'm gonna be so I'll be reviewing work. So go ahead and drop those in the stream chat, and I'll just kind of take them as they come. First come, first serve, and yeah. So we'll do things that way. Are there any other questions before I start? Maybe a bit of a rundown about what to expect in a critique.
Oh, is like what we're saying, like I'm saying right now in the call, like also being recorded, or is it just your audio and what's on the screen?
It will be everyone's audio, I think, for
All
this
right.
one
So hello,
because
people on YouTube.
yeah. Hey, people on
Hello.
YouTube, like and subscribe.
Subscribe and remember.
Gotta get that goodness. So I think in the meanwhile, while I'm waiting for art, I can kind of go over what a critique should be. A critique should be an evaluation of an art piece, and a critique should be professional in that it describes things in technical terms and not necessarily personal or judgmental terms. So while praise and positive and construction are happily accepted in critique, some people prefer to just be like ripped to shreds and be like, "How dare you draw this piece of garbage?" I'm not gonna do anything like that. So I will try and be as positive and uplifting as possible. But yeah, we're going to be honesty as well is a great thing with critiques. So yeah, be honest. Describe things technically. You can you don't just say like the anatomy is bad. You say it's inaccurate and you point out how it's inaccurate. Or you don't say the line work's bad. You say it's inconsistent, or and you point out how it's inconsistent. So that's basically a critique. So and you kind of want to form it like a compliment sandwich. Like start with something good, in the middle and stuff can be the meat and the veggies. Where you're talking about the real issues with it, and then at the bottom finish it up with a compliment as well. That's a nice way of doing it. And yeah, and critiques again should be more about I'm I shouldn't be trying to say what my version would be necessarily. Sometimes I kind of drift into that language because, I'm a creative and I like to see things like change. I like to see my influence in things, but it should be more about how do I help the artist express what their vision is. So yeah, with all of that in mind, we got some good pieces already. Well, let me go ahead and scoop those up. And I'll kind of open them up. All right. And I'm going to kind of blow them up on screen here too, just so that we can see them a little bit better. All right, cool. Well, here we've got a lovely shark person, and there's sand going on here. There's a sunset, looks like, uh, and it looks like it's going over a desert, maybe, or maybe maybe this is poolside or something like that. But yeah, those are preliminary impressions. Yeah, I think the image reads fairly well. Maybe not the background so much, but I think the idea of Anthro Shark person gets across quite well. So yeah, let me look at a couple things going on here. So you've got a sunset gradient. Your sunset gradient is actually backwards. It needs to be lighter where the sun is and darker where the sun is not. So this dark orange that we see here, that should actually be near to the top, and this light stuff should be closer to the bottom. It only gets we only get this kind of we get kind of a radiant effect going up the opposite way. So let me try this for example. Yeah, I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna just try this as a quick thing, right? So we've got some orange, we've got some yellow. If we operate that a little bit backwards, oh, that's going transparent. Okay. Wah! I didn't think it was supposed to go the entire length of the image, but okay. But yeah, point being that like the sun is obviously a super bright, concentration of light, and so its light is going to outshine what's there. So that's the first thing. And another thing that the sun tells us about this image is that it's backlit, and backlit things tend to show up in silhouettes. There's not much as far as like shading goes, but if you were to progress to shading, that is probably the largest consideration that you'd have as far as lighting. So there'd be a bunch of cast shadows going along the ground, and most of the figure itself would be in shadow. There would be kind of rim lighting where the light kind of splashes around, and maybe some splashing up from the water and so forth. But yeah, let's see here. I'll probably do just a few more things because I got more stuff to go on to. But it looks like body wise and like anatomy wise. So you've got the suggestion of a collarbone right here, and the collarbone kind of comes out in kind of a coat hanger shape and goes out to the shoulders, and then it looks like we've got kind of the shoulders melding into what would be the trapezius or back muscles, because what we need is a collarbone that hooks up to a deltoid, and there's not really a firm deltoid here, but yeah. So yeah, those are just some anatomical concerns. I mean, yeah, I could go on about this piece all day, but I think that's a fairly good start. Does that seem pretty good, pretty fair? Fish? I'll go ahead and pull up this other image. All right. Cute looking shark girl. Another cute looking shark girl. Did we operating off of the same prompt? This is probably a character that I don't know about.
No, that's the reference they stated.
Very nice. All right. Yes.
That's the reference image, quote unquote.
Oh, this is the reference image?
That's the reference image.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm not critiquing that one specifically. All right. All right, let me pull up this next one then. No, I mean, as far as to the reference, it looks like you were very, very true too. So I'll say that as a last piece. All right, cool. Let's open up this next one. Oh wow, this one's bigger than my canvas actually. Haha, neat. Someone's got a nice camera on their phone. I'm gonna shrink this down just a little bit so that we can see the entire thing. Just a bit more. All right. So it looks like we've got a feline, a feminine kind of feline form, and it looks like they're at a bar. So they got a bar stool here, and they might be looking for somebody. They're wearing a very appealing and form-fitting dress, and they got a bit of a tail waggle going on there which with cats means they might be agitated. But it can also mean like good things or like, oh hey, I'm interested in this. But yeah, okay, yeah. All right. So to talk about this a bit. So uh, one thing with backgrounds, uh, especially if you're drawing like furniture and stuff, it's essential to break out the straight lines and the rulers and so forth. So right here we've got our image, our figure standing still and upright. It looks like, but the table kind of slopes off into one direction, and so like if it's broken or something like that, maybe that's the what you want to go for. But like typically you'll want things perpendicular if they're supposed to be that way. All right. So another thing, they appear to be. So these legs appear to be standing up straight, which gives me the impression that they're standing on something, like a box or something. And the reason that I'm getting that impression is because, like, one, they're up to the bar, and two, their rear end area is above the seat area. So either their legs are super skinny and tall, or they're standing on something. That's the impression that I get from this. Um, so yeah, if that's something that you were going for, you could yeah, in you could indicate more of like uh, standing up on something or but yeah. So character height indicators. Um, if you want to indicate that like she was sitting on the bar or something like that, that would be a different pose. But yeah. Um, no, it's this is fairly good. Like anatomically speaking, we've got again kind of a disappearing deltoid problem. We've got collarbones out here, and then there should be a deltoid here. The hands are kind of blobby, which is stylistically feels inconsistent because the rest of the character feels like there's a lot of anatomical considerations going on here with the breasts and the hips, and you've got knees on the legs. So to have these kind of blobby hands just reads a little bit inconsistent is all. As far as the face goes, there are a couple of the one of the striking issues that reaches out to me first is that the ears seem to be attached at different places depending on the side of the head. So that's one thing I think I might if I'm applying a red line here real quick just as a kind of correction. Let me apply it over here. All right. So usually I like the ears to kind of attach to like the side of the head or maybe just slightly above the eye, which is what you did here. That's good. And it replicates on the other side, which is also good. If it comes up towards the top, it might not be impeded by this line right here, which is going to indicate the top, but it would come a little bit forward, and then we'd see this going out that way. But yeah, so ear alignment, eye alignment, nose alignment, those are all very various things that need to come into consideration whenever you're making a work. So one thing about checking like eye and muzzle alignment is to kind of draw from the corners of the eyes to the tip of the nose, and then what we can kind of see is that the muzzle kind of bulges out over here in a way where it's not necessarily doing the same thing over here, but no, your eyes look level. You've got kind of a jawline going on. But yeah, so a couple of things worth pointing out. Overall, like I said, the image reads good, and I think we'll move on to the next image. All right. Next up, we got this thingy. Rather cool looking image here. All right. I'm just gonna, no, not that bit. I want to erase that bit. Okay. And this one's a bit smaller, so when I blow it up, oh, that still looks pretty good. All right, so here we've got an Anthro Wolf, and they are answering the phone. Yeah, so it reads the background is a pure color, so they're kind of floating in space, but that's okay. Sometimes you want that. As far like where I would start with this image is specifically there are continuing to be like anatomical issues. So like from here we've got the neck going in here, right? And so if I'm asking myself, where is the collarbone? So if I'm trying to draw something like lines from the in anatomy, there's the muscle that's causing the kind of V shape that goes to the collarbone. It's called the sternocleidomastoid, and it goes into the pit of the neck, and so the shoulder bones come off of it. And so if I'm trying to decide where the shoulder bones are, they're coming out kind of this way, and they're coming out kind of this way too. If I'm trying to align this guy anatomically, because the pit of the neck here is a joint. It's probably the deepest joint of the arm. So a lot of people draw the arm as the shoulder and the torso as a box. The arm goes deep into the pit of the neck here, and so one way you can kind of realize that is by lifting your arms above your head. If you lift your arms above your head, that clavicle bone will shift upwards slightly, and it can go downwards too, but maybe not quite to that degree. So you'll want to be thinking, where the opposite shoulder is going to be, because it seems to just kind of drop off a chest or something, which is another thing that's kind of confused here. So like a couple of anatomical notes really. Let's see here. Another thing that happens frequently in furry art, if you're drawing a wolf, is that people will draw these triangle ears, and the triangle ears are like a good. Oh, I'm drawing on the image. Shoot. All right. The triangle ears are like a good shorthand. They're kind of what you do, as a kid when you're drawing like a wolf for the first time. But yeah, when you're communicating the real ear of a real animal, it needs to conform to the shape of their head. And so it'll be generally triangular in form. But yeah, study that a bit more maybe, and you can see that it's an object and not necessarily this the shortcut triangle that we got going on here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's fairly something I want to point out that's good is that you've got a good proportion of shoulder to elbow and then elbow to wrist. These lines, so those lengths will be approximately equivalent, and you've got kind of a good sense of that here. Maybe there could be a little bit more like deltoid meat up here, but no, like generally that seems pretty good. Where you've got this coming in, where you've got like the arm bending, that can work. That could work. You know, where I might do is what I might do with this image is like define where the torso is moving a little bit more, and then where the legs are connecting, your torso may be a little bit long, but yeah. So hope that helps out. Um, but yeah, no, it's good. It reads clear. You know, there's a couple anatomical nitpicks. This hand, though, really, that's really good. I should have focused on that a bit more because like you've got digits across these three. It looks like you've got a one knuckle digi here, which isn't exactly accurate. But hey, you know, you made an attempt to draw at least one hand. The other one's in the pocket, so you're trying to hide it. But yeah, no, good job. Good job in general. All right, I'll move on to the next one.
Thanks for the critique, man. That's really helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if you've got any like comments, you know, feel free to shoot them out there. I'm going to, yeah, I'll need to disable streaming mode on Discord. But yeah. All right. So next up, we've got, I think, a Pokesona of some sort. So I'll go ahead and put that in here. All right. Well, it's got the prominent features that made me recognize it was a Pokemon. I think a Mudkip or Slap or something. I'm so sorry. I'm not familiar with all the.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not really what matters. It's in an anthro form.
Right. Anthroforms are good. So, all right. Yeah. No. It reads clearly. I think because of this prominence on the top, and then also the nostril slits, and we've also got kind of a chibi, you know, figure, you know, to atop of it, and so like that definitely reads that definitely reads like the thing, and probably the sides of its face as well. Here it looks like we've got a phone, and she's taking a selfie. Is that?
Okay, funny story.
Uh huh.
It was originally supposed to be reading at the viewer. Then I learned I put the hand on the wrong way. So I'm like, screw it. She's taking a selfie.
Well, as yeah, it can happen that way. And so like I'm not going to go terribly into like anatomical structures here, but it would be helpful to review female body anatomy, you know, body anatomy in general, so that we can get a better idea of joints, especially if we have, you know, where's the elbow here? I can kind of guess that it's right here, but we might need a little bit more meat, a little more bend to the cartoon image to kind of sell that's what's happening. We kind of get that right here. So yeah, just have to get a little bit more consistent here. So and another thing with furry art, a lot of people, you know, tend to draw the heads a little bit bigger, and it works with the chibi stuff. But then we gotta look at where the neck connects, and make that you can make that a bit more realistic, you know, to where we're trying to go for like a attractive attractive young girl, you know, motif here that we're looking at. But yeah, so let's see here. So we've got the dress that comes out, and we've got one leg that kind of comes out into the side, like a running icon. like oh gosh, I'm drawing on the image again. Shoot. But the leg is bending like that. It's bending out to the side, which is a little bit awkward. So for an image like this, perhaps what I'd suggest for next time is that you bend it behind. That's one way that can work out. So you've got a leg here, a leg there. You know, they're up here taking the selfie or whatever. But yeah, so there's that leg, and with this leg has like a protrusion of some sort from the knee, and it matches up perfectly with that. We don't see anything similar on this knee, so that appears kind of inconsistent to me. Um, Kind of similar with the ankles. We've got an inconsistency here where the leg kind of goes into the shoe here, where or rather I should say the thickness is inconsistent. So we've got this so much toe space here, and then this the leg's thicker, and if we wanted to get that a little bit more uniform, I think that would read better. But yeah, I mean, again, you drew the hand, fantastic. I'm 100% for that. You hid the other one though. Repent of your sins. Draw the hands because they're super expressive. But yeah, no, I do like what you did here. It's fairly cute. And with a couple of like brush ups on like consistency and anatomy and so forth, really could bring this to the next level. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Good job. Yeah, no,
I'm definitely going to take that into mind next time I draw an Anthro.
yeah, absolutely. Take these lessons for next time. You don't necessarily have to edit these images. Take the lessons for next time. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be something right away. All right, next image here. Go ahead and open this up. We'll close that one out. Bring that one in. This one. Get it to where we can see it. Yes. All right. I remember seeing this piece before. I remember seeing, let's see here, other work from, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting your name. Sky. Yeah. I remember seeing more art from you, and I remember thinking about this as like, this is definitely only an improvement from where it's been in the past. So good job there. We read, so it's again a nice clear read. Whoops. Let me not mess this up this time. There we go. Yeah, it's a nice clear read. We've got an Anthro character standing in front of a closet. Yeah, again, I'm going to drop the advice of like whenever we're drawing like architectural stuff, it's best to maintain like really nice, consistent. You can kind of do a speedy line to keep it straight if you don't have a ruler. But I suggest if this is gonna be like a focus of the image, to break out the ruler if at all possible. I know it's not always possible. I think this is probably like a phone or tablet drawing or something like that. But there many art programs typically have a way to get that as well. So a thing with this is that we've got a line that's consistent right here, right? If we're trying to draw it like straight out, it kind of misses this by a bit. So it's again, trying to introduce as much consistency into your art as possible. I can clearly tell that this is kind of a single point perspective image because I clearly see the top of the inside of the closet, and I can clearly see the bottom and the sides as well. That's excellent. That shows an absorption of some elements of perspective, which I really like. So yeah, we've got the shelves going to both sides too, except up here on the top. So might want to bring that out for consistency. Whenever you're drawing these architectural elements, it's all about consistency, right? Consistency. Because the more consistent you can get it, the better off your image is going to be when you finish it. So another thing right here, we've kind of got a perspective line kind of matching with the door here, and then it's not matching at the bottom here. So that tells me that this door kind of swings up a little. So if it were closed, it would come up like this a bit. But because it's coming out in perspective, it's going down. But yeah, so consistency in perspective is super important when you're going into artwork. Yeah. As far as the character itself, Reeds is a green anthro cat who's definitely seen some action of some type, maybe recently. But yeah, so intense, like the morning after a big important fight or something like that. That's kind of a unique storytelling element. And there are also these items on the shelves themselves can be kind of like in-image storytelling elements as well, which is fantastic. And then you've got, what should I have? Fuck it, ramen it is, tells us something about the character. So this is a very character heavy piece. Even though we don't see the front of the character, we see some clues into what their life is like. They've got a scar. They're still dressed in their underwear. So, like, this is morning probably or something like that, right? Because it's brightly lit. And so, someone who eats instant ramen in the morning for breakfast and gets into fights is something of a developing character. So that's something that I really like about this. Anatomically, the proportions are a bit wonky. So we've got this big old kind of boxy torso, right? And then we've got these skinny itty bitty little arms, and these itty bitty hands, and these itty bitty feet. It's proportionally like I think it can work from like a cartoon perspective, but like I really think that beefing up on proportions as far as the arm width and so forth, like this guy's like arms and legs aren't necessarily like uh, badly proportioned. It's just inconsistent to the torso. So if I were redrawing this character, I'd have them. They've got kind of a V upper chest like this, and they got like a hip structure like that, and then we've got a character, that's maybe a little bit more toned. If you wanted to, keep the kind of boxy shape, that's still totally fine. I think you would just want to bring it in a little thinner, maybe, just to make it more proportionally in range with the arms and the legs and this tail here as well as the neck. So yeah, some things to consider. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Again, great job with this. Like anytime that there are storytelling elements in a picture is absolute gold to me, and you did that quite well here, actually. All right.
Want to draw expressive characters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, like you want to draw expressive characters, but if you can tell, like what someone is like from looking at their back, that's pretty impressive in my mind. All right, so I'm opening this next piece. This is Clivey? Yeah. All right, hang on just a second. I'm gonna copy this over. Go ahead and open this up here. Great. Kind of stretch it so that we can see it in the stream. All right, and here we've got a very symmetrical 2-point perspective building in the works here, which is kind of neat. So yeah, and it's following its own perspective grid, which is awesome. So it might be these sides are a little bit close together, but they are off the page, like I recommend in my videos. So yeah, good, fairly good job there. We can get kind of a sense of scale. Like this isn't just a pyramid in someone's backyard necessarily, right? Because we see a door here, and the door and the overhang here give us that hint that this is a building that someone could walk into, and it would have spaces, high ceilings on the inside. The way it's built up is kind of Mayan temple-y, pyramid-y. Maybe looks a little bit like a church. I don't know if that was what you were going for, but like it's very churchy to have this kind of multiple stacked thing, and then kind of a steeple on top. So could be that kind of a building. But yeah. Oh, don't you show me messages Windows. All right. But yeah, it goes along. So a couple of things that you can do with images like this to really add some interest to it is make sure that you throw in some like maybe you can't have like hints of windows everywhere, but just kind of have some like hints of them in here or of other structures, of other border structures, right? So like say that there's a lower kind of a molding going over it. And if it's on a city street, there's going to be a sidewalk and a gutter and so forth. That can kind of help sell it more. Whereas if it's in like the country, we're gonna see like trees and stuff. So we can just draw like simple, like even just simple little iconic representations can give us more of a sense of scale. If someone misses the doors and be like, oh, there's a tree here. This is obviously a building. But yeah, so moldings, linings. We've got so here it cuts in to the doors, so we can see that this is an overhang. But the overhang lines up perfectly with this, which in a real building, that real buildings typically don't do that. There's typically more of a consistent overhang across the entire thing, and so this thing is gonna shoot out a bit there that way, and likely here as well, to kind of give the sense that like the building's wearing a hat, you know. Um, and that's especially going to be on this first edge there, and with this, maybe not so much. But again, we can imply that there are windows, or that there's, maybe it's a company building and they've got a big logo or something slapped across the side of it here and there. The more interesting shapes you can throw into it, the better your architecture, so to speak. But yeah, and also when making buildings like this, it's good to throw in like maybe so that it's not perfectly symmetrical. We get a kind of wing out of the side of the building, and maybe it misses this tree here a little bit. But yeah, we could have something coming out that way just to add a little bit of asymmetry to the design. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but it's something that you can kind of take into consideration. And yeah, and like there are other things that you can do for scale, like kind of pop up a car for scale or something. Just a really quick representation of something to kind of get the idea of like, oh, this is a place, someone's here. Maybe there's, street signs or something. Maybe there's a sign on the building itself to tell you specifically what it is. All of these things. So all of these things can add interest. So you've got a neat base to work here from. But yeah, add in some elements of like asymmetry and like vegetation and like, I don't know, maybe it's got a hedge bush or something around the side here. Just some things to throw in some visual, some flavor, some extra flavor to this. But yeah, no, it's mostly consistent to the perspective grid. So you did a good job. All right. Okay. All right. Nifty. Nice to see your art here. Nifty did a picture for me recently. It was very cool. All right. Kind of blow up their artwork so that we can see it a bit better. If my computer can catch up, that would be great. Yes. Oh my gosh. Catch up. You silly thing. Alright. Alright, so here we've got an Anthro character sitting on the ground. Reads. Always a good thing when your image just kind of reads. The person can tell what it is, like, great. Sometimes the details don't necessarily have to be super accurate, right? A teacher of mine passing on wisdom from a teacher of theirs, they said, if you can't draw it well, draw it big. And you can be a mural artist or something like that. That's probably not what you're going for here, but that's just kind of an aside. But yeah, all right. So one of the so we've got kind of a question of like what's overlapping what here when the body's got like interlocked limbs, so to speak, and how exactly it's resting in space. So bringing this up so that we can see it. Can we see it? There we go. So yeah, we've got someone with their legs crossed here. And when you've got someone with their legs crossed, their legs are typically resting on top of their shoes. Here we've got an arch above. It seems kind of unnatural, and it might be good next time to take a reference photo of someone in like a similar pose, and to kind of figure out how exactly do things overlap when someone is sitting like this. So yeah. So up here from like the head, like furries are super good at heads. Like this is a really good head. I like this head. We've got the ears. They're looking mostly symmetrical. We've got the eyes seem locked to the muzzle in a logical way, so that looks good. We're connected to the neck, and the neck isn't terribly thin in proportion to the rest of the body. But we do see here that when it comes to the shoulders, that there's a little bit of a breakdown in understanding to where exactly the torso is and how exactly that relates to the legs and the arms. So we can still say that they've got like shoulder pads or whatever. So that can be an explanation of that. But their arms, where exactly are they going? Here, that looks pretty good actually. But we've got another one here that kind of like gets buried or disappears or something. Yeah, so where's that one going? Is it heading back in towards his leg? If it's behind here, like are the arms colliding? All sorts of these questions are great to ask yourself, and to make sure that you're keeping angles and stuff consistent. Yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing is these feet are pretty boxy. I think that I would encourage more of an arch when drawing out the feet. Feet usually have like an archway. It makes for a big, especially if they've got plantigrade style feet. And then on this one, it would be same place in the opposite. That's just an extra thing that you can do to your shoes to kind of bring that extra realism kind of back in. How these knees bend, that might not be too bad. Well, might want to focus a bit more on what exactly is going on, because if the leg is straight down like this, right, their knee isn't going to be up here. It's going to be above their shin, which is going to run more this way. So the top of the kneecap is going to be somewhere like more right there than it is right there. But yeah. Yeah, definitely consult a reference this time, because like this head is solid. If the body were a bit better referenced, I think it would read a lot more naturally. But yeah, no, overall it's good work. Colors are good. Shading is kind of blobby. Yeah, we've got kind of like a blob shading. But it is at least somewhat consistent. It comes down from the top. Comes down from the top here. There's a cast shadow on the neck of where the muzzle is. That's great. To where it's wrapping around the fur back there. Tells me, what does it tell me? It tells me that this is curving. That either this is curving back very strongly, or the light source is maybe more more to the side than showing this way, because we've got a shadow coming out here this way from the rest of the body, right? And it's coming down there as well. So yeah, just kind of one thing that you can do is just like across some key points, kind of decide where the light is going, if the shoulder's coming off here, and kind of give yourself like a little bit better of an idea of like where your shadow should be. If you're not going to draw like the outline itself, which I can't blame you. If this is against the ground, there's going to be some shadow there as well. But yeah. Okay. Cool. No, overall good work, Nifty. I'm gonna move on to the next image. Oh, looks like I'm out of images. Okay, cool. Anyone else have something that they want to post? Let's see here. Yeah. I'm screen sharing. Yes. You can see it on my YouTube later. Took a bunch of notes, Sky. All right, great. Good. No, it's fine. Don't feel like you need to apologize for your art, guys. Like you've submitted some solid stuff here. Like I was afraid I'd start this all up and get like next to nothing, but like we got some good pieces in here. How am I with horses? Or wait. A ziggurat, the Mayan structure. Yeah. For Clive's stuff. A sketch been working on. Any advice on what you could improve? Okay. Sure, I'd love to see a centaur piece. Like I'm far from like a pro on horses, but I mean I can at least take a look at it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna take a look at these. Okay, so this is your reference image that's got some tracing over it. Let me open this up. Okay. Gonna post that here. And then I'm going to blow that up on one side. And this is one image of a set here. So I'm gonna open this other one up. I'll get that in there too. Great. Expand that one as well. Alright, and we'll move it over here. We can still see it. Alright. I like what you're trying to learn here. I think there's some good stuff going on. I think proportionately what kind of happened here is we've got the head starts to, furry heads are drawn a bit bigger because they're partially for like cuteness reasons, but also because like the proportions look a little bit better when it's drawn larger, because here we've got we've got kind of tiny head syndrome. It looks like to me, but no, I mean that's really the only proportional concern that I have. So otherwise, since this image is dark, we're kind of reading where a lot of things are. Yeah, and even you kind of tried to reconcile kind of the proportional weirdness here by cutting up on the arm a bit. So that's cool that you noticed that. We've got them wearing a hat and like wearing a robe, and this is like the robe is form fitting to more form fitting to this character, and yeah, the proportions make it look kind of wonky. Like it looks like this character's got like a big belly and it's just drawn the drawstring of the rope or whatever right across it, because it's kind of hard to see in the original image, but it looks like it kind of droops down like that. But yeah. But yeah, I would definitely like, as far as preliminary and getting the characters right, I think that's a good job. I think that might be operating a little bit backwards, because we want to like I feel that if I'm laying down characters on a stage, I probably should have the stage set first, so I can kind of understand what the perspective of everything is. And so like just kind of take that into account for next time. If you're gonna draw it out from here, continue doing it. Go whatever your own way is. But yeah, I think it's cute how you included the guy over here. Whatever you're going for here, it's is gonna be entertaining. So yeah, yeah. Other than that, not a whole lot to go off of. Proportions, yeah, the drill proportions, because they definitely look funny directly traced. They definitely look a bit funny with tiny furry heads. But no, yeah. In fact, that probably would be one of the biggest fixes to this, is just making sure that the heads get resized, and then you might have to do a couple of extra things as far as like making sure that the arm comes on right. But no, yeah. Again, the idea reads so. Good job. Good job. All right. Let me see here. Astral, this would be your second piece, right? Uh, did we get half? I'd like to get to half's piece. I can come back to Astrals if we don't get anyone else. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of throw that as a limiter. Well, no, that's not fair because that was fishes, wasn't it? Okay, I'll come back to that one eventually. All right, I'll do Astrals because we're ready to go there. All right. Okay, cool. So I'll put those away. We'll put that up there. Okay, another example of a Pokemon. I think it's like a shiny Espeon or something like that, right? Yeah, as far as the the feral body form, it reads pretty well. The body form, yeah, this is pretty good as far as this goes. Maybe this joint there doesn't doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but you know, that's a thing. Hang on. Oops. If they're standing, like you've got legs standing up right here, and then these legs kind of go forward, and that's going to alter its balance a bit. Um, Everything here is reading kind of like, especially the long tail here is reading more feline, and in that case, the let's see here, the head doesn't look quite right. It doesn't look like it's quite attached to the rest of the body. How might I fix this? So you've got a head turned facing directly. That's another. This is another like compositional idea, so to speak. But if you've got like your torso turned one way and your head turned another way, typically you'll want to do things at a slightly different angle rather than straight on, to kind of challenge yourself and to make it more compositionally interesting. Because like these straight profile shots, like they can be effective in the right circumstance, but if that's all you learn how to draw, it gets kind of boring. Um, but yeah, how might I correct it? I think this might be another space where the head looks kind of small. Because if I'm drawing a feline character, the head's going to be attached somewhere right here. But yeah, to offer a little bit of red line. Maybe not that, maybe not that. But you know, that's not necessarily what we're going for here. So like with the big ears, definitely curve those back in. Go for a bit more. See, earlier you were talking about this crossbar thing. This crossbar thing, it's is supposed to represent, is a shortcut to representing form, like how the face starts to curve outwards, and this. But yeah, after you've laid that down, gives you a hint. So like this is your center line, right? So maybe you'd have an eye here and an eye there, and the muzzle would come out here, out in front. Or if you want it looking down more, you could arch that line down more, and then the muzzle would come out farther, and then the nose would kind of line up more with where it is right there. Eyes right there and there. But yeah, just some ideas. Cool. All right. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I've gone ahead and done 2 second ones, but let me get halves here. Ooh, this is a chonker. Taking my computer a while to download. Oh, this is big. It's gonna be bigger than my thing. Hang on. So if I turn this off. Nope, that's not it. That's it. Whoosh, yeah. It spilled over everywhere. But that's okay. That's okay. I will get it back to a size. I think I'm doing a little bit of, whoops. I did not want to rotate it. All right. You're changing it. Yes, I am. Okay. Yeah, we've got a very clear centaur dragon thing going on here. I dig it. I dig it a lot. And I like how you're trying to get the limbs for the extra wings out there properly. As far as like proportions go, they look pretty good. Head's a little big. That's usually okay with the furry art. And I like how you're experimenting with this wing in the side profile. That's a tough view to pull off. Yeah. So the silhouette is a little bit confusing when we've got two legs like this, and especially when they're coming down like right across the page. So like here we're pulling off like a good execution of a form filling space, right? And that kind of falls apart down here, especially if you've got uh, uh, things that are running. This leg might be like just a little bit tangent. It's overlapping just a little bit, which is better. But like when it comes to visual tangents, the best thing to do is either like overlap completely or find some way to separate it so that the silhouette reads a little bit better, maybe. But yeah, no, I dig this idea. I dig it a lot. Like I think when you've got we've got if I can draw the right thing. We've got a torso form up here, right? And then that's going to connect somehow to the bottom form here. This is one place where the angle changes rather dramatically, which we can do. I think that's possible. It's just going to be twisting the torso a little bit, so we're going to have some skin stretch and like fold marks there maybe. But yeah, if we've got kind of a general cylindrical shape for the horse body, that's good. Yeah. But I mean, if eh, I did it again. Gosh darn it. I thought I selected the different things. Oh well, whatever. But yeah, I would more want to establish a space for where this is at by uh, making sure that we've got like a horse body in perspective, and so uh, a reference from this particular angle of a horse would have been great. Um, but yeah, that way we could get like the legs flowing a bit more in a space, and we could have one over there or something like that. Yeah. I'm not doing the best red line there by any means, but yeah, some extra figuring out of where the where the horse body form is going specifically in relation to the upper torso body form. Yeah, would be great to lay out there. But no, I am no expert on horses, so yeah, I would definitely get a reference. I think gosh, if I'm gonna say anything proportionately like it, maybe the torso is a bit, or rather, maybe the horse body is a bit small for the torso. But I don't know. Gets nitpicky at that point. Great job though. This is good stuff. Nifty. Oh, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. We're good. We're good. It's a diagram of me doing red lines. Yeah, have a look. You know, I mean, like, a lot of what I'm offering here is just opinion. So, like, if you don't dig what I'm laying down, hey, it's just an opinion, man. It's cool. Nothing personal. All right. Let's lay down Nifty's piece here. Oh, I'm running a bit long. I lost track of time. All right, so the idea here was you were trying to draw someone's rabbit sona. Rabbit OCs. Yeah. Yeah, the legs in perspective on that last image. Yeah. But good. Good. Yeah. All right, so back to Nifty's. Trying to draw someone's rabbit OCs, but it looks like a canine. And it looks like a canine because it's got a very canine shape. Um, you know, the ears are a big tell. So like those ears are very wolfish ears because they come up in short points off of the head. Whereas if I'm drawing a rabbit OC, you know, they definitely have like much longer ears. And then the other thing that would be different is the snout shape, right? So you could probably cut off cut off some of the snout shape there and come up with a shape that's a little shorter and a little cuter, especially when dealing with the bunny rabbits. But yeah. I think it would read instantly better. Yeah, so we shorten the snout by about half of right there, and then we've still got enough left over that we got some cuteness going on there. Yeah, again, refer back to images of the creature itself. You know, draw on real life reference. You know, don't make things hard on yourself by trying to invent brand new creatures and stuff like that. But yeah. All right. Yeah. Big spoon ears. Yeah. Well, again, thanks everybody so much for coming. I can continue. We can absolutely continue the hangout, but I think I'm gonna end the recording here. Thanks so much for showing up. I hope that I helped you guys out a bit. If you correct your images, definitely bring them back here in the stream chat or DM them to me or something. I'd love to see updates if you updated these images, or if I'd love to see, you know, future works from you guys if you do similar stuff in the future. Oh, okay. Maybe one more. Maybe one more. Uh, um, yeah, one more. I'll do this one. All right. Hang on. Yeah. I can do 5 more minutes. That's fine. Opinion on the anatomy. Did a different way. Help shadow and highlights for slime. Yeah, no, I remember seeing this bit. I think that's some serious progress. Let me go ahead and get that in there. Gonna up that a bit. Gonna shift that over. Whoops. Right here. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, as far as anatomy is concerned, proportions a little off. Um, And then also we've got some. So here, for example, we've got a chest, and there's an idea of. I think I'm going to switch to blue for this one, actually. Oh. I'm marking up the image again. Shame on me. Actually, let me turn this down just a tad so that we can see it just a little bit better. There we go. All right. So we've got the torso here, kind of a rib cage area, which is great. And then we've got the neck kind of goes like straight into the shoulders from the collar, which is fine for something in this kind of chibi style. It's good. So what we have right here, we've got the shoulder joint. Deltoid muscle covers that. And then over here we've got a bicep. And then we've got the forearm coming out here at the elbow. And the hand. That's good. And then over here, we didn't get a bicep. We kind of went straight from shoulder joint to forearm. So we need a bit more bicep action in there. And that's another thing, is that the arm length is gonna be affected. So like whenever you're drawing an elbow, your bones are going straight out to that point, right? And earlier in the stream, I was mentioning that the arm lengths are going to be more consistent, especially if they're at like this kind of straight on angle right here. If this was angled forward a little bit, those proportions would make more sense, because then this would be foreshortened. But yeah, that's something to consider, is that this joint from the shoulder joint to the elbow seems longer than the elbow to the wrist, which is an anatomical thing. But yeah, if I were going to try to fix this, I'd put like, he'd get a deltoid right here, and then his arms are kind of long, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So we have the deltoid, bicep, and then the forearm, deltoid, bicep, forearm, right here too, and we could have that kind of come out, and then the hand gets a bit lower. But yeah, but not too terribly bad. But yeah, then we could have something comparable, like this joint to that one. And then if you wanted to keep these proportions, something like that still works, because then it can be said as a stylistic thing. So that's yeah, from the front it's looking pretty good. The profile right here is very blah. It doesn't stand out in 3D, maybe like this character's shape does. I might bring that in. There's just a little overlapping line right there. I might bring that in just so that there's a sense of I'm drawing on the image again. Shoot. All right. But yeah, I might bring that in just so that there's a bit of sense of overlap, that the muzzle and the muzzle and the top of the head are overlapping. And so yeah, we got the nub tail here. Again, just a note on proportions. We've got a joint here, and then a joint here, and then this looks like it's shooting off that way. If you could get, it just needs some consistency is all, really, right? And so if you could get this leg consistent with this one, or vice versa, that instantly improves it. Coming from the back here, the back is not all that well defined. So we've got kind of like an inner arch of the back and the buttocks. Got a little bit of buttocks going on there. That's okay. Everyone's got a butt. Whenever we're drawing a back, and especially on like muscular kind of toned characters, we'll see kind of a back line. And that back line will line up to where their butt crack is. To where their bum crack But yeah. And the back is, I would suggest doing an anatomical study just of that, right? Because from the front, it looks like you've got things nailed. But the back has at least seven different muscle groups, which are including the uh, trapezius, your traps, your laterals, your not laterals, latissimus dorsi, which are called your lats. And then the butt is going to be the gluteus maximus, and then like above that there's the obliques. So yeah, get in some more of those muscle shapes in the back, because we've got from the front a very built character, and then from the back not that well defined. So yeah, put that in, and it's good. And we were talking a little bit about like shading beforehand, but like if you wanted to make sure that this thing did like a shine, you could get like a gel pen, and make sure that these separate things are all very shiny, right? Since the character's made of slime, and the light source is going to be coming from one side, right? So maybe shines there, and there would help sell that it's more perfectly smooth. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, ya bum. Anyway, yeah, okay, that's gonna be it for this stream. So I'm going to end the recording. Feel free to hang out afterwards, everyone. Like, cause it would just be cool. But yeah, for those of you who have watched us on YouTube, thank you. Consider liking and subscribing. That's going to be it for now. Bye bye to YouTube.